This recording contains the opinions and thoughts of certain independent Salesforce members. The information shared with you by these individuals are their own ideas and strategies regarding the cultivation of a successful independent Mary Kay business. The independent Salesforce members hope that you find something in this recording to inspire you and to help you succeed in your own independent Mary Kay business. Naturally, your personal results may vary depending on the time and effort you choose to invest in your Mary Kay business. As with any business opportunity, various factors may affect the financial results that are achieved in your Mary Kay business. Therefore, there are no guarantees regarding same.
You've mastered the art of building a unit, but how do you go about developing leaders from that unit? Independent Executive National Sales Director Stacy James shares a description of levels of dedication and leadership and how to recognize them and understand the next steps you might take. Are there specific people you should focus on or certain actions you should take? The answers await you in this CD. Listen as Stacy shares her insight and knowledge about what it takes to build a foundation of success while developing leaders along the way.
I believe that education is not the pouring of facts and figures into someone's brain. I believe that education is the ability to inspire the soul. Because if you can inspire someone's soul, then as a result of that, they have a desire to learn. They want to move forward. They want to gain more and go forward. I'm going to give you the 3 levels of dedication because there's a lot that goes into that. And then I'm going to go through some of John Maxwell's 5 levels of leadership. Well, I've kind of taken those levels of leadership and I put them into Mary Kay vernacular because we have a different kind of leadership than anything else in the world. Do you agree? It's completely unique, totally uncommon, very unconventional, and we can go to seminars and we can go to workshops and we can learn all about leadership, but then we always have to alter it, adjust it, change it, shift it for what it is that we do because what we do is nothing similar. But the first thing I'm going to start off with was Craig Rochelle is a pastor in Oklahoma City, and he wrote a book, and the name of it is How Churches and Leaders Get It and Keep It. And the basis of the book is on how to create momentum. And he talks about in the book that there are 3 levels of dedication. And I'm going to give those to you and then talk to you about that as a director. However, before I launch into it, there is something I want to cover. You know, Mary Kay taught us there's a third and a third and a third when we're talking about consultants in our units, right? When she explained that to us, it was with the purpose to give us an idea that we have the masses of women in our unit. So as a result of that, we have women there who have utilized this business the way that they choose to, and it's not necessarily to really move forward with something. It's just something to have and take advantage of if they want to. And sometimes we feel as directors, if we're not motivating everybody, then as a result of that, we're maybe not being the best directors as we can be, and we get kind of hard on ourselves. And we go into that comparison mode and we get really frustrated and we're trying to think about what's wrong and what we need to shift and change. So what I want you to know is, of course, you want to inspire the masses, but the masses oftentimes are not inspirable. And there's sometimes you can inspire their heart, but you can't create their movement. That's something that's completely up to them. And if you have a lot of women that you're looking at your success meetings, especially if you've been a director who's had offspring director, and when you have offspring, you've got momentum going on, and there's all kinds of excited, ignited energy that's happening, and then you have an offspring unit, and they go do their own meetings, and then you look at the women that are still there, and it's not that you don't love them, but they're not listening to you. I heard one director said, it's like saying, I see dead people. They're looking at me, but they're not with it. They're not on it. They're not with me. And I don't know what to do. I'm going to do a tap dance. I'm going to figure out another great prize to earn. I pull out another sparkly. So what I want to do for you is I want to help everybody figure out how to get them to go. I don't believe that there is a third and a third and a third to be directors. And the reason I don't believe that is because you guys, we all had to qualify to be directors. Nobody did that for us, and no one is in this class by accident. You didn't become a director by waking up one day and saying, ta-da, here I am, I get to put the suit on. You earned it, you achieved it, you committed yourself to something, you dedicated yourself, you saw it through, you made it happen, and that means you have qualified yourself for a leadership position. Now, since that's something you had to earn, that means you have the capacity to be as successful as you want to be with this marketing plan and this position, the capacity. But we can have the capacity, and sometimes what we're really lacking is the belief. Because my interpretation is that to be directors have nothing to do with a third and a third and a third of ability. It has to do with a third and a third and a third of belief. The directors at the top are performing the ways that we all want to perform are those directors who believe that they can, and I really believe that you can become as successful as you will allow yourself to be. And usually it's the things that we think we're lacking that are stopping us. We think the lack is stopping us. The lack isn't stopping us, it's that we think the lack is stopping us. Does that make sense? We're focusing on what we think we don't know, or what we think we are not well versed in, or what we think we're not as good at as we should be, and as a result then our mind goes to what is less instead of what is more. So we should get very aligned with how good we are. A level 1 person in dedication is a person who is willing to dedicate themselves to a dream or a vision, part of a movement and a cause. They'll dedicate themselves to something as long as there's something in it for them. Now that's not talking about the initial dedication, because always initially we dedicated ourselves to this business because there's something in it for us. I mean, we became a consultant so we could make some more money. There was something there for us to benefit us. I'm talking about dedicating yourself for the long run. They will dedicate themselves to it, to the mission, as long as there's something in it for them. A level 2 person will dedicate themselves to a dream or a mission as long as they can contribute comfortably. A level 3 person will dedicate themselves, and they will choose to dedicate their life. They will be sold, they will be completely committed. We have national sales directors. And the difference is national sales directors are dedicated. We have dedicated ourselves to a mission, a vision, a direction, and to the women that we lead. And we have completely infiltrated ourselves into that. Now, I know that to be so because of all my NSD National Sales Director girlfriends and everybody that I spend time with, and knowing who they are, what they're made of, how they think, and what is incredibly important to them. National Sales Directors are completely dedicated, have a different presence, you have a different energy, you have a different essence, and people can sniff you out. They know it, they can feel it from you, they will follow you, they will pay attention to you, they will notice you. There's a whole different level of what happens when your dedication is completely solidified. Now, I'm going to back up because I've discovered that there are no directors who are level 1, because directors aren't willing to just dedicate themselves as long as there's something in it for them, or they wouldn't be a director. The majority of the consultants in your unit are dedicated because they're showing up, they're having fun, they love the success meetings, they get a newsletter, there's a place for them to compete, there's something in it for them, and they're staying with it. So sometimes when you want to look at your unit, you want to figure out, do I have things in place so there's something in it for them? Because they will stay if there's something in it for them. Sometimes we shift in our levels, meaning at one point in time we are totally sold out, we're all over it, and then all of a sudden something happens and it knocks us a little bit, and then we find ourselves operating in a different level. Okay, I'm going to give you some definitions though. Level 2 and level 3 directors will contribute comfortably. When you're in a level 2 mentality operating in dedication, it is very, very frustrating. The reason why it's frustrating is you're not totally committed, and if you are not totally committed, then these are the things that happen. You say things like, I don't really know if I want to go to leadership conference because there's just too many things going on in my life, and I'd have to put too many things into place, and I'd have to shift this and alter that and do that, and it's just more complicated than what I want to really do at this moment, and I really know everything that I need to know, so why would I be going to leadership conference and buying a plane ticket, because I know what I need. I can't learn anything more than I'm supposed to learn anyway, and I know if I would just do it. Well, the point is that you're not, so you really should be just doing it. That's not the point. We all know what we're lacking is the inspiration that we gain when we come to seminar or we go to leadership conference and we hear the stories and we watch the proof and we see what's happening and it inspires our heart and we know we can do it too. That's the purpose of these gatherings. It is education, but it's also proof that if they can do it, you can do it too. And if you really start to believe that, then all of a sudden you will come home and you will take what you do know to do and you'll put it into action. If you've ever felt the feeling, I know what to do, I can't get myself to do it. Yes? Then that's the missing component. And then the dedication part. When you are a level 3 director and you have sold out, dedicated yourself to your goal, this is what happens. You will attract a different level of consultant into your unit. Now, level 2 directors who will only contribute comfortably, a level 2 director, okay, here's the deal, is less likely to recruit a level 3 woman. And a level 3 woman is less likely to be attracted to a level 2 director. So if I were a level 3 woman and I was looking to put myself into an opportunity, I want to follow somebody who is sold out. I want to find somebody who's in it forever, who's passionate, who has high goals, who's really going for it and really believes in this. I'm not going to be looking for someone who's kind of a little bit hot, a little bit cold, a little bit warm, a little bit negative, a little bit grumpy, a little bit complaining. I'm going to be looking for a director who is all out over the line. So if you're a level 2 director at any point in time and you're looking at your unit and you're really frustrated because you're like, nobody's doing anything, nobody's engaged, nobody's committed, this just makes me mad, I'm so frustrated, I'm tired of being a babysitter, I'm just exhausted by these people who want, and maybe the issue is not your unit. The issue could be your level of dedication and the people's response to you. You're going to have people who will and people who won't. But really, all you need is a couple who will, right? All you really need is one hot and sassy sparkler. All you really need is one. Because if you have her, you and she can link arms, start working, start moving, and she's going to recruit more just like her, and you're going to recruit some just like you, and then all of a sudden you get some combustion going, and I'll tell you how to do that also. But if you're level 2, you're not going to find a sparkler, because you're really not looking for the sparkle. If you're level 2 in dedication, then what happens is that our eyes all of a sudden are looking for people who do not intimidate us, because we're not going to go after people who intimidate us because we really don't think we have anything to offer them, because we're not sold out dedicated. And if we're not sold out dedicated, we're not really believing that this is all that. And if we're not believing this is all that for us, why would we believe it's all that for them? But if you are completely sold out, you will go up to the #1 realtor in your state and you'll tell them all about this marketing plan. And you'll even say to them, this might not be for you, but you know lots of people and you have a great pool of influence. And I want you to really understand what Mary Kay is all about and what it has to offer, because you know you have the best thing on the face of this earth. And there's not a woman who would not benefit for at least a year of their life. I think we get hung up on thinking that we need to sit down and convince them and say magic words and make them, cause them to make a decision. Where actually when you're doing marketing plans, you're just sharing the information with as many people as you can sit in front of that exchange. And as a result, the PR that happens from that is absolutely phenomenal. So now we're going to move to another level thing, and I'm going to totally confuse you. Because now we're going to talk about leadership levels, not dedication levels. So can we flip the page? And the only reason it's called 5 levels of leadership is because that's how John Maxwell positioned it. But really what it is it's kind of an evolution from going from one place in leadership to the next place in leadership to the next place in leadership. And I had some major ahas when I was going through this, because I'm going to tell you a little bit about when I started as a new director. When I became a new director, I was 24 years old, and the thing that I wanted the most ever, was a pink Cadillac. That was it. I was driving the car with the hole in the floorboard, and it was rusting out from under us, and I wanted that pink Cadillac. Buick Regal was just coming on the scene. There were no consultant cars at the time. That was it, and I was all over that. And I believed that I could, and I believed that I would do it, and so I had all that fuel behind me. Now, what I didn't have behind me is I didn't have an understanding of what true leadership is, which is servanthood, which is building deep relationships. There's a difference between surface relationships and deep relationships, and I was in it to win it, but I was in it to win it just for the productivity and the numbers. Does that make sense? So I did lots of marketing plans, and how my marketing plans went was usually sitting down with someone and just spilling all kinds of information out to them and convincing them that, first of all, I'm going to tell you everything that I did, because you're going to want to know, and how successful I've been and how much money I've made so far, because if I could do it, you could do it. I mean, my intention was good, but the way of going about it was not really beneficial. But this is what I found, is that you can recruit people no matter how you do it. And if you are very influential, you can recruit them just because you go, here's how it works, this is how it goes, and here's, you just sign this and give me your check. Okay, thank you. And I closed them. I got good at closing, and I would close them, and I felt like I was wrapping them up in a little container, closing them, got a new consultant, here we go, inventory here. I was on a little machine, and I was on a mission. But then what I discovered is that I began looking at them like little packages. There are my numbers in my unit, and there's another one, and there's another one. I did my pearls of sharing with them, and we kept building numbers, and we were going, the production was happening, and I was on a movement, and we earned our first Cadillac, and we were doing really great. And then I got really tired. Seminar as a brand new director in my Cadillac, 3 Offspring. My first year, everybody at seminar kept saying, what did you do? How did you do that? That was amazing. And then I started thinking, what did I do? How did I do that? And how was I amazing? Because there was no depth to my process. There was only a process. And so when I started thinking about how did I do that, then I started kind of walking in circles. I kind of immobilized myself. And then when I started doing that, then people started kind of falling away because I hadn't built deep relationships. And all the productivity was completely up to me. If I stopped, they stopped. And then all of a sudden the numbers started going. I got frustrated with that. I was started to spin because I couldn't figure it out, and I found myself being very frightened of being in my Cadillac. The productivity was going by the wayside with that. I lost 2 directors the second year. I called Jan Harris and I said, okay, I need some major help. I need major help. And she said to me, I would be happy to help you, Stacy, but you're going to have to listen to me. And I said, well, I am. That's why I'm calling you. And she said, I know that, but you're going to have to listen to me. If you would like for me to help you, I would be happy to help you, but you're going to have to listen to me. And by the 3rd time, I got very adamant, I am listening to you. And she said, you know what? I'm going to send you a book, and I'm going to highlight the chapter in the book. And I want you to read that chapter first, and then I want you to call me. I said, okay, I have to wait for the book. Because when you're operating out of your D personality or your mode of just great operation, then what happens is you become very impatient. And you don't want to learn how to do it. You want to be told what to do so you can just go do it. So I was very frustrated with waiting for the book to arrive. So just tell me, why do you have to give me a book? The book arrived, and I read the chapter, and the chapter was the difference between being called or being driven. And when I read the chapter, I got it. I totally got it. I wasn't doing this out of my calling. There's nothing wrong about being driven for a goal or a target. Nothing wrong with that, because if you have a vision and people are following you with that vision, that's a great thing. But what is wrong is when the end is more important than the means, then driven is not a good thing. So I had to step back and recalibrate how I was doing my business. And that helped me understand that if I were doing it on my calling, it would be for the sake of the woman I was sitting in front of, not for the sake of the conquer. First level is called position. And position is all about the fact that people have to follow you because they have to follow you, because you're in the position of authority. And if it were outside of Mary Kay, it would be making reference to being a boss, and you had employees, and you do what I say, and this is how I say it. And you don't have to be a good leader to be a boss. However, this book is about leadership, so let's be clear. This is not about the average person. This is about us. This is about leaders. You should feel very proud of yourself. We can be a director, we can have the suit, we can have the pumps on, and if we are operating out of positional mentality, this would be our thoughts. Our thoughts would be, I'm the director, they're consultants, where they're not bringing summary sheets, I can't believe that they keep showing up in pants, this is really ridiculous, and they missed star by $100. Who does that? I mean... On target for car, off target for car, off target for car, on target for car. You just get totally frustrated about watching everything that they keep doing wrong. And they're just not listening to you or paying attention. You have to enroll them, yes? His description is that positional leaders have a tendency to separate themselves from their followers emotionally because it's much easier to detach from people than to attach yourself to them. People are messy. Relationships are messy. And if you have a tendency to be a certain personality, like power and achievement, you don't really like messy very well. So you would much rather be detached. So is that a description of how I operated when I was a brand new director? I was detached from the people. I loved the people. I thought they were amazing. And I had a relationship with them, but I was not emotionally engaged with them. They were just fun. I smiled at them. I loved to hug them. I'm very affectionate. And I did care about them, but I didn't. Then he said, when you're a positional leader, your mind is not on encouragement. Your mind is not on celebration or support of people. It's definitely not on unconditional love or individual potential. The focus is on performance. They should be doing something. You taught them to do it, so they better do it. As a positional leader, you're focused on the current reality of the situation, looking at what they're not doing versus what they could do. Not looking at what is not happening, not who they are. Could you be a senior director operating out of positional leadership? Absolutely. How you can be a senior director is for some reason, somehow, you got a level 3 person in your unit and you didn't bring her in. Or for some reason you did, but it was because she bought into the business opportunity, not necessarily you. And I know that to be so because the woman who recruited me into Mary Kay did not stay in Mary Kay. And I bought into the philosophy of the company. That's why I signed my agreement. It wasn't really into her. It was to what she shared with me that I fell in love with. So if you end up with a person like that in your unit and she starts to roll, now here's what's interesting. Someone can take off rolling as a level 3 person. They can do one or two things. They can grab onto you and you can kind of run together and then you're excited, they're excited, and they become an offspring director. Or they can just take off without you. Sometimes if they take off without you, that can get a little intimidating. Now, a level 3 person or a ready right now person, you got to let them run. You got to let them run. And that's one of the greatest benefits my director had is that she held me with an open hand and she just said, go, 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 go. And she let me run and go. And she gave me great recognition, whether I did it the way she said to do it or not. And things I had to learn, I would come back to her and find out what I needed to learn. And then I would go out again and I'd mess up and then I'd come back to her. Because a level 3 person isn't going to quit. They're going to figure it out. So you got to hold them with an open hand. Now, can a positional leader become $1 million director? Because if you are doing a whole lot of production, you can have lots of systems and lots of followers. So you can enlist them in the plan, but the interesting thing is that you're not going to go to the next level. So the levels are, 1 is positional, 2 is called permission, and I'll go through that next. But permission is about getting people's permission to lead them. The 3rd level is productivity, production, and that's that people follow you because of your credibility. So if you're a top director in production and productivity, you've got lots of numbers, lots of things happening, lots of production. They're following you because you're a high producer. You're a star of the show. You're in your Cadillac. Great things are happening. The credibility causes them to want to listen to you and follow you, be a part of what you're doing. The 4th level is people development. And if you're operating out of position mentality, but you're in productivity, which is the third level, if you're in productivity, you're not going to be able to go to level 4, which is people development, until you go back to level 2, which is permission. Permissional level 2 is getting people's permission to lead them. And you do that through seeing the potential in people, not the performance in people. Treating them according to their potential, believing in them, encouraging them, listening to them, validating them. Now, I'm going to tell you what it's not. What it's not is that you don't spend a whole lot of time with those women who are not willing or wanting to move forward. And the women who are not willing or wanting to really move forward will want a lot of your time. So if they think they can get a lot of your time, they will of course need it, want it, ask for it. Let's go to coffee, need to map out another goal plan. Your success meeting, that's when you take their hand, look into their eyes, give them a hug, ask them about their kids, send them some notes, leave them a voicemail, send them a voice text that you love them, you thought of them, thanks for the meeting, your support is so important to us, I appreciate you so much. Write on their newsletter the things that you can do for them that are not necessarily lots of time. Now, however, the women who are coming up the ranks, who are wanting to run, those are the women that you build deeper relationships with, because they need the depth of relationship with you. You know what's going on in their life, you know what their 5 basic needs are, you know what their personality style is, you understand how they think because you care enough to listen to them. You ask them lots of questions and you coach them based on their personality. That's building relationships. That's building depth. People follow you in the permissional stage because you are asking their permission to be their leader. Does that make sense? Relationships in units develop energy and excitement and connectedness. So what did I do as a director that started creating permissional levels of strength? I did as a director every once in a while a sleepover night or a weekend night, or we'd go out to the movies together, or we did fun things together, usually around Star Consultant things. Sometimes they didn't have to earn it, absolutely not. Come over to my house, we're all going to have pizza, we're going to have time together. So it was social time that I was creating, and they were getting to know each other. Now I've discovered that I can create strong relationships of women within my unit. They can be so strong in their friendships that they want to be at the meetings together. They want to go to the retreats and the events together because they are all together. So I did a lot of retreats and events. So as I was coming up the ranks to be a national sales director, I did events with my directors where I wanted them to get to grow in relationship with each other. Here are some of the things that I did. One of the things I did is confidence cards, where everybody in the room, one at a time, will share a little bit about themselves. So I would have Crystal tell everybody a little bit about herself and one of the things in her life that she values the most, that's most important to her, or something she learned this year, or whatever it is that you want her to share. But Crystal shares, everybody else in the room writes a love note to her on an index card. And then when she's done speaking, they all send their notes back to her. And then the next person shares, Lynn shares, everybody writes a love note to Lynn and then gives them to her. And then after Lynn's got hers, Crystal reads 2 of the love notes out loud to everybody. And then we go around the room. Now, something like that takes a lot of time to do with everybody together, but here's what's so amazing about it. Nobody's bored because they're listening intently to each person and writing things, and then emotion. This person starts to read her card and starts to cry, and everybody's like, oh, you know, all it takes is one woman crying, really? And our hearts all melt together, and all you have to hear is that, you know, this woman, her mother passed away, and my mom passed away too, and this person's husband is not really understanding, and my husband can be a jerk also sometimes. I mean, that's when all of a sudden these friendships are like built, and people, when we're done, will get up, and all of a sudden people like gravitate across the room to each other, hug each other, and you've got new friendships going on, and there's just love that is being been created. That is the strength, the bond. But if you do that with your up and coming area and you build relationships with those people, you do it with them, they do it with each other. Oh my gosh, you will have retreats where it's 100% attendance because no one wants to miss, would never miss in a million years because they want to be with their girlfriends. Sometimes directors aren't as excited about leadership conference as they are about being all together at leadership conference. So those are the relationship parts. That's the permissional phase. That's what you build. And okay, so if you build permission and then you go into production, because here's the other thing, you can't stay in permission because there's a difference between care and candor. Some people look at permissional as being soft leadership. It's all about love. It's all about unconditional love. It's not about their performance. It's about who they are, what they stand for, what I love about them. And as a result of that, they can feel that from me. Here's the other thing. They can also feel it if you're angry with them or frustrated with them. You can never tell me a unit of consultants cannot feel it if their director is mad at them. You can try to fake it. You can try to put a smile on. They can feel it. Ultimately, they can feel it. There's no benefit to that whatsoever. You've got to reignite your heart as to why you love your unit. Okay, now, if you have a unit that you have no superstars, then you need to know exactly what you're looking for a superstar. Who do you want your up-and-coming leaders to look like? Do you know that you are designing your future? Designing your offspring nationals, offspring directors, you are designing what that looks like. This is what my husband always reminds me. When he said, who's going to be your next first-line director? And he said, who's in your unit right now? Who's going to be your next? And I'll go, well, there's this person, and there's this person, and this person. Then he always follows it up with. So are you going to work with just who's available? You can continue to look for the women who inspire you. So he always redirects myself. Because, isn't that the first thing we do? Who in your unit? Well, sometimes there isn't a who in your unit. I remember one time when Gary Jinks said to me, well, with a unit of 200 people, there's got to be a director in there somewhere. And my response was, not necessarily. Really? Because you could have a unit of 200 followers, and there's not a leader in there. I can work to help someone become a director who's a follower. It's a whole lot of time. It's a whole lot of effort. And when she becomes a director, she is still totally dependent on me. No, I want to develop a director who is already a leader. She is already on it. She already has people skills. She already knows how to build relationships. She already has big goals, and she's going for it, and she's self-motivated, inner-directed. Working with her is a total joy because she still needs stuff from me. She's got to learn the Mary Kay philosophy from me. She's got to learn how we work in this business, all that kind of thing. But she is off and running. When she becomes an offspring director, she is not needing me. She will call me and say, tell me that you love me. Tell me that I can be great. Tell me I have a situation I need your help with, but they're not needing me on a daily basis because they figured out what in their life they need to hear and feel and keep them self-motivated to go forward. So that's the women that you want to bring up the ranks. And sometimes they're not in your unit. Sometimes you need to go out and attract them to you, find them, discover them. But you got to know what they look like internally before you can find them. What are they going to represent to you? They're going to have committedness. They're going to have character. They're going to have the capacity to be coached. They're going to be on it. They're going to be hungry for success. So if you know your qualities, you will find those women. Positional leadership is when you're operating out of the authority of the position. Permissional leadership is when you're operating out of getting people's permission to lead them, developing relationships. And then productivity is you got to have productivity. People are not happy unless there's production going on. It's credibility, it's success, it's more money, it's changing lives, making a difference. Production. So the first three is figuring out if you're operating in positional, you need to develop some relationships to get up to productivity and then go into people development. Because people development is when you develop really strong offspring directors. And then the top level is called pinnacle. You develop leaders who know how to develop leaders. And there could be lots of women we could point to right now, and we could say, those are pinnacle leaders. But I'll tell you what, I think the only true greatest pinnacle leader we've ever seen is Mary Kay Ash. Because Mary Kay Ash, she is the one who not only developed all of us in relationship, we still feel her love. We still feel the legacy that she created. And because of one woman, what is happening in all the countries. In the Ukraine, I was walking down the street looking at people's gray faces, oppressed spirits, walked into the Mary Kay office, and they took me into their general assembly that I was arriving to be at, and I walked into a room of women who are dancing and singing and clapping and jumping up and down and hugging each other, and I'm thinking, walk outside and look at that environment, now walk inside and look at this. If we don't think that Mary Kay can be recreated and inspire women's hearts no matter where they live, no matter what situation and environment they're in, is the most amazing thing on the face of the earth. We are a part of something that is so much greater and bigger than any of us individually. And we're not just sold out for our future and our dedication, but we are sold out for this company and this movement, and that we have something that we are creating that is our legacy to Mary Kay. So how do we transfer that? If we feel that and we sit down with another woman, she feels our passion. It's not like dancing all crazy happy. It is, Hamar, I want to tell you about this business because I love it with every fiber of my being, and I love to share it with other women and what it's really all about. And if it's something you're interested in, that would make me overjoyed. I would have great happiness because I would love to work with you, and I will share with you all the things that I see about you that I feel would be wonderful. But if you're not interested in it, then please know that this time together could be a new friendship, would never be a lack of my time, because you are valuable to me and I love getting to know women. It's so important to me. Women do not have mentors out there in the world. So whether you're recruiting them or not, you are feeding into their spirit. You're helping them feel good about themselves. You're pointing things out. You're asking them questions. You're being interested in who they are. We're out there discovering. So the last part is, you have Cinderella's slipper. The slipper is all the qualities that you're looking for leaders. Your goal is not to try to shove somebody else's foot in the slipper. Your mission, if you should accept it, is to find the women's feet that fit into the slipper. And if you are in front of enough women with the right attitude, the right heart, and the right love, you'll find lots of feet that fit into your slipper. Mary Kay started this company with 9 other women, not just 9 other women who are random, 9 other women who thought the same way she thought. So that means she found 9 other women with specific characteristics. They had values, they had principles, they had work ethic, and they were committed to her dream. 9 other women, not random, 9 other women. Praise God she did that, because through 2 or more gathered, through 9 or more gathered, through everybody on the same page with the same mission, going the same direction, created the foundation of a company that 50 years later still permeates, resonates her love and what she stood for. What I need to do this year, I have the ability to do. It is within me. I have the capacity. I just need to act like I know it. And if I will be that strong and that courageous, I will cause all my dreams to come true. And as I do that, other women's dreams will come true as well. Thank you.